Hello all. In this second part of the video of lesson 2 Nelson Mandela, let's move ahead. Nelson Mandela states that we who were the outlaws not so long ago, we who were the outlaws means because of the discriminatory policy or the policy of apartheid, many countries had in the past broken off good or polite or diplomatic relation with South Africa. So he says that till yesterday we were outlaws, but today we are given a special opportunity or an advantage, that is rare privilege, to welcome the people of the world on our own soil. That is, we are given a rare privilege to be the host to the countries of the world on our own land. We thank all of our distinguished international guests. That is, I'm really thankful to all our respected and admired international guests who came over here to take the possession with the people of our country. That is, who came here to be one with the people of our country. And this proves that it's a common victory for justice, peace, and human honor or dignity. The meaning of this last sentence is that Nelson Mandela says that he is thankful to all these international leaders who came to be a part of this inauguration, and they became one with the people of South Africa, which proves that this was a common victory of justice, peace, and human respect. We have at last achieved a political freedom from restriction, that is, political emancipation. We promise ourselves to free, that is, liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender inequality, and many other inequalities. Deprivation means a state of not having one's rightful benefit. That is, when people of a country, they don't get their rights. It is called bondage of deprivation. Never, never, never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression or the cruelty of one by another. Nelson Mandela promises the people of his country that never again in future our country will experience the cruelty or oppression of any other country. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. I repeat, the sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. It means that the achievement word has been given over here, the name of glorious, because people had waited so long to achieve freedom. They had worked so hard to achieve freedom. And in this journey to achieve freedom, many lost their lives. And Mandela says that sun shall never set again means country shall never have to face cruelty or oppression by any other country again. This is a great human achievement in the world. Let freedom rule now. That is reign. God bless Africa. Let's move ahead. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe, that is, in surprise, as a spectacular array of South African jets. Spectacular array means a colorful or attractive display of South African jet planes, helicopters, and troop carriers. They rode means made huge noise in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display or a show of pinpoint, that is perfect precision, that is perfection, but it was again not only a display of only military force, but it was a display or demonstration of military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly, that is honestly elected. I repeat that these jet planes and helicopters that demonstrated their perfection in the sky high above. But Nelson Mandela says that it was not a perfection display, or it was not a display of only the military force, but it was a display of their loyalty to their country, their loyalty to the new government that had been elected very honestly and freely. Only few moments before, the highest generals of South African Defence Force and Police, their chests decorated, that is bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by. Today they saluted me and pledged their loyalty. So till yesterday, all those military force or defense force and police and the generals and all of South Africa who were given many medals and awards and rewards in the past, today they were saluting Nelson Mandela, and they promised Nelson Mandela to be loyal to the country. I was not unmindful. Not unmindful means to be aware. So I was aware of the fact that not so many years before, they would not have saluted me but arrested me. It means these people who were saluting today Nelson Mandela and those who were promising him to be loyal to the country, maybe the same people would have arrested him many years back. Finally, a chevron, that is a pattern in V shape of Impala jets, left a smoke trail. Trail means mark or a sign of black, red, green, blue and gold of their new South African flag. Next we move ahead. The day was symbolized. Symbolized means represented for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of whites singing Kosi Sekelel Africa and blacks were singing Die Stem, this old anthem of Republic. So it was an irony over here, that is a reality, but you can see that how the whites were singing a national anthem Kosi Sekelel Africa and the blacks were singing Die Stem. Let's see what it means in the next few sentences. Although that day neither of the group, that is neither the white nor the black, knew the lyrics. Lyrics means the words of the song that they were singing. They didn't understand. They didn't know about it. So they didn't know the lyrics of the anthem. They once hated. They would soon know the words by heart. So those people, that is the whites, who once hated these lyrics of the anthem, today or maybe very soon they are going to learn it by heart, because that was their national anthem. On the day of the inauguration, that is the opening ceremony, I was overexcited. That is, there was a strong emotion. That is, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, 20th century first decade, you can count it as somewhere in 1900. A few years after a bitter Anglo-Boer War. Anglo-Boer War means a war that took place between Africans and Britishers. So here Nelson Mandela is remembering about the past, that how few years after the bitter African-Britishers war and before my own birth, the white-skinned people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned people of their own land. That is soon after this war, that is Anglo-Boer War, got over. But it was before the birth of Nelson Mandela. These white-skinned people of South Africa, they made their own group and they created their own system of racial discrimination, and they started dominating this dark-skinned African people in their own land. The structure or the system that this white created formed the basis of one of the harshest, that is the most cruel, most inhuman societies the world has ever known. That is this white people after the war who had created their own discriminatory system for the black. This structure that they had created was so harsh and inhuman that world had never ever seen before or never ever had known before such cruelty. Now in this last decade of 20th century, that is somewhere in 1990s, and my own 8th decade as a man, that system had been now overturned forever. That is today, the system or the discriminatory system that the whites had created in the beginning of 1990s, that system was now destroyed, it was thrown away, and it was replaced by one such policy that recognized the rights and freedoms of all people, irrespective of, that is regardless of the color of their skin. So the policy of discrimination with the white brought with them in South Africa after the Anglo-Boer War today is replaced by such a policy that provides equal right and freedom to all the people, and there would be no color difference. Next, that day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people. It means this day of freedom, this day of inauguration became possible because of the sacrifice of thousands of people. People whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. These people who were no more in South Africa, who had given their life for the freedom of South Africa, today Nelson Mandela says that their courage we can't count. We can't even repay their courage and suffering. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum total of all those African patriots who had gone before me. It means I am just a man who followed the footsteps of these people, and that is who gave their life for the country. And I am just the sum of all these African patriots. That long and noble line ended, that is, many people who gave their life, say 100 for example. Now, as these 100 people who gave their lives, the line ended over there. But now, that line began once again with me, that is with Nelson Mandela. He also became one of that man who was ready to give away his life for the freedom of his people. I was sorrowful, I was pained, means I was in a sorrowful condition. I was sad that I was not able to thank them because they were no more, and that they were not able to see what their courage and suffering and sacrifice had achieved, that is wrought. Next, the policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people, that is for centuries and centuries ahead. People of South Africa, the next and next and next generation would never ever forget the deep and lasting wound that they had experienced all of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that great hurt, that is profound hurt, which means that for many years in the future, we will not forget this great hurt. But the decades of oppression and cruelty, that is brutality, had another unintended effect, that is unplanned effect. And that was that it produced great people like Oliver Tambos, Walter Cecilus, Chief Luthellus, Yusuf Dadus, Bram Fishers, Robert Soboquist of our time. Let me take pause over here. Let's go back once again to this sentence. That though this brutality, that is cruelty and oppression that they had experienced for decades, it was very hurtful, which people will naturally not forget for many years in future. But at the same time, on the other hand, there was a positive result also of it. That is, this brutality and cruelty produced great people, as I named ahead. Men of such extraordinary courage they were. They were the people with extraordinary wisdom, generosity, wisdom, that is quality of having knowledge, wiseness, experience. So such were these people, that their like may never be known again. That is, such people will not be born again on this land of South Africa. Perhaps it requires such depth of operation to create such heights of character. It's very beautifully written words over here, that if one experiences cruelty in his life, it is then only that a great personality is born on the planet. My country is rich in minerals and gems, which lies below the earth. But I have always known that his greatest wealth is his people, finer, that is best and truer than the purest diamond. That is, though my country may be rich in minerals, but more precious than the mineral is for me is the wealth of my people, and they are finer and truer than the purest of the diamonds in the earth. Now here you can go through some mini description I have given about Abraham Fisher and Yusuf Dadu and Robert Soboquist. So with this, we just end the second part of this video. See you in the third part of this video for the chapter Lesson 2, Nelson Mandela. Thank you so much.